The following podcast is not suitable for all ages for the following: crude language and wrestling. Please be advised.
We're gonna talk about
Welcome everyone to the B4L podcast, Besties for Life, episode number 3.
So hard to take a selfie.
Daniel is taking a selfie of the both of us. I don't know who he's sending that to.
Nobody. I've just been taking a selfie of the podcast.
Oh.
What if we took a selfie every week? Just like a podcast?
I don't know. I'm kind of just in my I don't give a crap clothes,
Me
so
too.
I probably just look... Shut up.
I just got off
I look
work.
sad and pathetic because it's like, I don't care about looking good. I'm just sitting here with my gut hanging out. Just,
It's not really hanging out. It's.
I know. It's just all folding in on itself. I need to go to the gym more.
I don't like that visual.
I liked the losing the weight thing that I had.
Yeah.
And like it's not done yet, so there's awfulness under here.
Hey, you could look like the chief.
When I like to take pictures, I like to be dressed a little bit better. You know, like you.
I'm not even wearing pants right now.
You're wearing jeans.
That's a whole nother topic.
That's like a 10-year-old inside joke right there.
It's true. It's a very old joke.
My name's Phyllis.
Those
Okay.
are my pants.
Yes, episode number 3. I am Tyler Wilson. With me, as always, my bestie for life, Mr. Co-host Daniel J. Johnson.
That's me. Oh, sorry. Booyah! Sorry, it's been a while. It's been a hot minute. Sorry, we've been gone for a few weeks because of Christmas and New Year's and shit.
Christmas and New Year's and shit.
Thank you for echoing that, and that was great.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's good to be back. Good to be back here in the studio apartment.
But it is January 7th, 2015. It has been 3 freaking weeks.
It's a long time.
Thankfully, not a ton has happened.
Not really.
I guess, technically, until just recently. At least for me.
Yeah, a ton has happened, but nothing good necessarily.
Yeah.
Just a lot of shit.
Nothing.
Nothing
Yeah.
too exciting. But we'll get to that in a little bit.
Yeah. I guess we'll talk about what we've been doing.
What have you been doing?
What have I been doing? I've been working
I feel like this is a very common, I've
been working a lot, yes.
Yeah, me too. I am in the midst of a 9-day stretch where I'm working 10 plus hours a day.
Damn.
Yeah, I'm doing about 100 hours in 9 days straight, no day off.
I got off the overtime list at work, so I work 8 hours.
Yeah, you shut your whore mouth. You want to trade? You can work my 1 to 11 tomorrow, and then my 11 to 8 Friday, and then my 2 to 11 on Saturday, and then my 11 to 10 on Sunday.
Oh, yeah? Well, I'm off tonight and off tomorrow, I work 3 to 11:30 Friday, 3 to 11:30 Saturday, 3 to 11:30 Sunday, and then 3 to 11:30 Monday.
You, sir,
and Tuesday.
You are what we call a piece of shit.
You're welcome. Yeah, they were forcing a bunch of people to work 12-hour days, but they had to be on the overtime desired list if they wanted that, and I took myself off of it because school
12-hour days. That was me pretending to bust some.
I know you don't care.
Because I do.
And our overtime, because I'm a regular, our overtime is any day after 8 hours.
I know. It's because you get nice pay.
We get big money. Okay.
I don't get big money. So other than working, what you been doing?
Not much. Watching a bunch of anime, which I'm sure a lot of people listening don't particularly care.
Sure they care. Sure, my grandma cares.
Your grandma cares?
She doesn't listen though, but I bet she cares.
I've watched a little bit of wrestling. I gotta admit, I watched various clips on YouTube once in a while of things, and that's about it.
I attempted to watch Raw on Monday, but I'd been so tired that I collapsed and just napped. Took a little nap through Raw, which is sad to think that like Raw is so blah these days that it's like nap time for me. pop on Raw, and then I just snooze.
Like I said, kind of before we actually got around to doing the show, I was trying to show him a couple of matches from Wrestle Kingdom 9 this last weekend, because he didn't really. I don't think you've really ever watched New Japan wrestling.
I've seen some Japan.
You've seen some Japan.
Some Japan. I've never seen Japan itself, but I've seen some Japan. Yeah, so, I've always like dabbled in the international wrestling, but I've never like sat down and like. Maybe it's because I don't know what the hell they're saying.
Yeah,
it's just kind of I can't follow a story.
Language barrier.
It's hard to follow a story. I don't understand.
Yeah.
It's
to be fair, I dabble a lot too. Like the first time I really ever sat down and watched one of these events was like 3 months ago when they were starting to put on like events leading up to this.
Yeah,
and then like. The thing that sold me on Wrestle Kingdom was the fact that they were going to have an English commentary there as well with JR and Matt Stryker.
Yeah, which helps. It's just tough. Like wrestling is cool. Like watching the act of it, like the athleticism of it is cool. But if I don't know what the basis behind it is, then I mean, why should I care?
Yeah,
it's hard to care about a wrestling match when you don't know what's going on. That's why I can get behind like WWE or like. Sometimes TNA or independent wrestling because I know what's happening. I know the build up. I know the story, and I invest a little more than like watching some Japanese guys beat the shit out of each other for 20 minutes, which is essentially what Japanese wrestling is. But if I don't know the story, then it's just two dudes.
Yeah. To be fair, I think at least for Wrestle Kingdom, they did a good job of at least portraying it because I think they knew that they were going to have a lot of non-Japanese speaking people there. So a lot of what they were showcasing was very visual, so you can kind of get the story.
Yeah.
Not to mention, I know Stryker and Jim Ross were both trying to
they picked two great guys to do that.
Yeah, and they did their homework on trying to explain the whole story behind them as well.
So that everyone understood, which helped a lot, like knowing what was happening.
Yeah, we'll definitely get to that a little bit later, but you said you've been working. Anything else you've been doing?
I've been doing a lot of work. A lot of work. What else have I been doing? I've been doing stuff, but I don't know. I mean, I threw a pretty kick-ass New Year's Eve party.
Oh, that was a lot of fun.
It was a good time. Yeah. For people who don't know, I'm an aspiring bartender. I do a lot of other stuff. I like to dabble in everything. Like I'm a pro wrestler. I dabble in going to the gym. I work out every so often. Dabble in bartending. I got a whole bartending set for Christmas from family. Like all the essentials. So I was like, hey, screw it. For New Year's Eve, I'm gonna go out, spend $200 on alcohol, invite a bunch of people over, and make drinks for people. And that's what it did. And it was a classy party. Like it was classy.
It was very classy. It felt like some high class shit. Yeah. You even had like the nice margarita and champagne glasses and all the nice glasses and stuff.
People listening probably know the parties. Like when you think of like party with 20 people, you think like kids getting wasted, keg stands,
red
beer
Dixie
bomb,
cups everywhere.
Dixie cups, and none of that was at my party. My party was all glassware. We had a beer pong table, but like no one got drunk. Not one drink was spilled in the 9 hours that my party was going.
I wouldn't say no one got drunk.
No. I mean like sloppy drunk.
Oh yeah, not sloppy.
Like
drunk,
everyone was good to drive home when the time came to drive home.
Yeah.
But no one spilled the drink. Not one drop was spilled, other than myself.
other than when you went to go mix a drink and the bottom fell out.
The sober bartender spilled the only drink of the night, and it's because I don't know if people know what a Boston shaker is. It's the main shaker that bartenders use. It's the 2 cups, you stack them and you shake. All night, these motherfuckers were just being the most difficult things to pull apart. Like I would shake it and I'd go to pull it and it wouldn't work. Well, by this point in the night, it had loosened up a bit, and when I went to pull hard, because I had to pull hard, the whole thing just exploded on the floor, and I was in knee deep of pineapple juice, and it was sticky. I
think you were in the midst of making one of the more complicated.
Yeah, it was a hurricane.
You were in the midst of making a hurricane.
It's the most complicated drink. It's really good, but it's a full glass of liquid, and it just destroyed my floor.
Yeah, because you were making it for 2 or 3 people too.
And I was pissed. I was so mad. I'm like, the only drink of the night that gets spilled is me. Great. But no, it was a classy party. I had a drink menu on the TV, Cards Against Humanity, beer pong. We had music. A lot of cool people were there. It was just a good time. It was a great meeting a lot of people. Yep.
You know.
Yep.
I wasn't even gonna go there.
We don't have to go there.
But yeah, but just kind of hanging out with friends that you knew, and then like meeting some people that that you met for the first time. And like, dude, your friend, I don't know if Joey listens to this. Your friend Joey's great.
Oh, I love Joey.
He's awesome.
I just want to go ahead and say something about Joey.
He's very
Joey. Fun. Joey came to the party late and surprised me because Joey lives in Omaha and he works for Magnum, so he's a buddy from out there. He came to my party, didn't tell me he was coming. Walks in the door, and the first words out of his mouth were, "Hey, Dane, I got offered to do gay porn." I was like, there's a group of like 15 people in my apartment who he's never met before. And their first impression of Joey is he got offered to do gay porn. And it's just that's why I love Joey so much. So it's great. That's
literally the first thing he did. He like walks in and then tells the story about how he
got offered to do
gay porn in Houston.
But yeah, this is a good time to plug Joey. His name's Joey Anderson. He's on Facebook. He wrestles for Magnum as well as a lot of other promotions in the Midwest. So go look him up. He's a great guy. And he also turned down an offer to do gay porn. So there's that. We may be having him on the show soon.
Yeah.
From what I understand, he might stop in.
That'd be pretty sweet.
We may get the whole Guns and Beer clan to come out here because they've been doing a lot of cool stuff.
Oh, nice.
So they've been making waves. So that'd be cool to see them on the show at some point in time. But yeah,
have special guests.
Yeah, and actually,
a young show we can have special guests.
Other people who will sit in this bedroom with us and talk about wrestling. That's the dream right there. That's what I could do every day.
Nothing. Yeah, that is my life fulfillment, is to be having 5 dudes sit in my bed.
Yeah, well, all in their boxers. Some naked. It's not a big deal. We're talking about wrestling.
We won't even use the chairs. We'll just set up the microphones above the bed. We'll all just lay down on it and just be like, "So what's up, man?
Let's talk about wrestling." Perfect. That's a great idea. I know. I mean, we don't want to tempt him, but I'm pretty sure Guns and Beer would be down with that. They'd be fine. Get him a 24-pack of Bud Light and a couple of shotguns, and we'd be good to go. Oh man, I hope they're listening. Hope they're down for this idea. God. But yeah, what I've been like, other than that, like what I've been doing, not a whole lot. Just kind of living life. Training for wrestling. Trying to get that all situated for next summer. But yeah, I mean, not a whole lot else. Just kind of trying to get through this week. Because I have 3 days off starting next Monday. So hopefully I can get some time to recharge my batteries.
I'm sure I'll be talking about this a lot myself too, with you getting back into wrestling. I'll probably talk about this damn near every week, like some sort of update. It's like, all right, well, this bit at work. Basically, I ended up like, because when we were at the New Year's Eve thing, like Daniel was sitting here talking to me. It's like, man, it'd be awesome if you could actually get like Saturday nights off and you can come here and be a part of this. And like actually meeting one of his wrestling, like one of his close wrestling friends was great too. And then it was one of those things where it was like, it just happened to align that they had a bit at work to get like a Saturday, Sunday off, and it's in an area that not a lot of people want to be in because it's like too much responsibility and all that crap. And so I was like, I'll put in it for it. Why not? It's actually a little bit of extra money too, so it'll be really nice. And there's a real, like I said, I'm not going to get my hopes up too much because I still, I need to be like guaranteed it right now. Sorry. For that slight little pause, Daniel's taking more selfies.
No, my girlfriend is feeling sad, so I'm sending her a photo of happiness.
Snapchatting.
I Snapchat, man. I multitask. But no, I really hope you get that bid. It'd be cool to watch you.
Once again, I need to like get in shape because there is a mess underneath here.
Okay, I just want to say like
you dabble in the gym. I think you dabbling in the gym is like kind of getting in the pool once in a while and kind of like swimming around the shallow end. I've like dipped my toe in and been like, yeah, okay. Be back in 2 months to dip my toe in again.
Could take Jim Gaffigan. Kind of reminds me of Jim Gaffigan.
I'm definitely gonna have to do that more as well. Because even though you've told me and I've seen the indie some of the guys around here who's like, oh yeah, you remember that dude? He was fucking fat as fuck and he got bookings and all that shit.
If I may point out an example of Chief Atakula.
Well, we'll get to that as well. But that's the thing is, I am like the definition of like maybe not skinny fat, but like I'm the sort of fat where it's like I could like hide it, where it's like I'm a little bit bigger. So it's like I put like a t-shirt on, something nice on, just a nice couple of layers. It can cover up the crap. But I'm like, I take my clothes off and it's just like, that's a little.
You could be like Akeem.
Yeah, that's the problem. Is I'm a bit chunky, but I'm not like super fat. Like, you can do something with a super fat guy. It's like, let's build him as a monster or something. Like, you can't be like, okay, so he's kind of tubby, so let's put him in a Hawaiian shirt and a fedora, and he'll lead people with buzzards. There we go.
And he's super over.
He's super
You're
over.
the next Bray Wyatt. What's gonna happen? We'll call
you. Next Bray Wyatt.
Well, that's exciting, man.
I don't know if I have his charisma, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm really hoping to get that, and once again, it'll be a whole thing that I'll find out by like February. But I guarantee you, every week it's going to be like, all right, I got the bid. Now I got to take this test. All right, I passed this test, so now I actually have to go for a couple weeks to Oklahoma to train.
Yep. Well, I hope you get it. That'd be fun. Because I'm projected to start going back into Omaha to start like working off the rust in February. So we'll see how things go. I'm excited. Yeah, it's really beyond words because I haven't been in a ring since I did one match last July for Magnum, but I haven't actually wrestled in like a match since April of 2011.
Yeah.
So we're looking at about 4 years of ring rust that needs to be worked off. So we'll see what happens. The next few months is just kind of dedicated to me getting back into ring shape, working on cardio and whatever. But
I was gonna say I don't know how much stuff we got to talk about. I don't know if you want to discuss like why you haven't had a match in a while.
Oh, sure, we can talk about that.
Like the story behind that.
Yeah. So kids, I just want, if there's anything you can learn from this story, it's that cars don't have autopilot, and you should be readily awake when you're driving. So longer story short, I fell asleep while driving one time. It was in May 4th of 2011. I would say right after my last match in APW. And yeah, I fell asleep at the wheel at 3 a.m, wrecked my car, broke my spine in 3 places, broke a rib, punctured a lung, no big deal, almost died. So that put me out of action as far as that summer went. I was in a back brace for a while. Then kind of put off, didn't really rehab like I should have that year. So I just kind of had to stay out of the ring for a while. And time went on, and eventually I found other things and kind of got away from the business. And now here we are 4 years later. I'm in a position where I miss the business. I have that itch again to do it, and feel like I never really reached what I could have been. And I feel like I'm in a position where I can go back and kind of prove what I can do and kind of figure that out.
Cool.
So, yeah.
Cool.
This is a long story, really short. That's the really, really, really short version of that story.
Yeah. And for a story that was kind of sad, there was one little funny thing, and that was when SmackDown came to Des Moines that one time, and me and my roommate were trying to like find Daniel because he went with one of his other friends, and we're like, "Where's Daniel?" And the next thing we see this guy in just this huge back brace, like kind of walking
like
around,
a little penguin,
funny, like a penguin. Just like, "Oh, there's Daniel."
I'll never forget that because that was the night that Christian turned heel.
Yeah.
On Randy Orton. Yeah. After he lost the belt the week before. I don't know if y'all remember that. Was it Extreme Rules? Yeah, Extreme Rules. Christian won the belt in a ladder match against Alberto Del Rio, and then the next week he lost to Randy Orton. And then he turned on him, that little son of a bitch.
I feel like the turn didn't happen until like June or something.
Was it like the month after?
Yeah, it was like a month after.
Because I think he lost the belt and then had a rematch for the belt.
No, they had that capital punishment match.
Yeah,
where like Christian's leg was underneath like the rope.
Because it was a face versus face match.
Yeah,
and then he turned heel.
Because if it was 2 weeks after Extreme Rules, you wouldn't have been in a back brace. You would have still been in the hospital.
Yeah, I remember that. Okay.
So yeah, it was like June or something.
That was a good feud too. The Christian versus Orton feud was really, really awesome. In 2011.
Yeah.
That was a good year.
It was. All the way up until like September?
Well, yeah, because the first 3 quarters of the year was like Christian and Orton on SmackDown.
And then Punk.
Granted, you had Miz and Cena for the first half of the year. It was Miz Cena, then Miz Cena and Morrison. And
Miz gets too much flack. I think he did
well for the position he was in. And then it was Punk and Cena towards the middle of the summer, which is when things were really good.
Yeah.
And then the end of the year was kind of like, wasn't it like John Cena versus Mark Henry or something? No, that was the next year.
No, Cena was doing his whole shtick with... I okay, they had Punk Cena at Money in the Bank, Punk Cena again at SummerSlam. Del Rio cashed in. That takes us to Vengeance. No, Night of Champions. Night of Champions was Cena Del Rio. That takes us to Vengeance. That was Cena Del Rio after the ring broke with Henry and Big Show.
Yep.
Was it Henry? Yeah, it was Henry
Big Show for the World Heavyweight title.
And then like Hell in a Cell was Punk Cena Del Rio. That I think Del Rio won the title back, and then Punk Del Rio at Survivor Series.
And that's where Punk.
And that's where Punk had his 400+ day reign.
After that, yep.
That's
a good year. It wasn't a bad year.
That was me like half trying to remember what I watched around that time, and half being like, okay, 2K Showcase. What was because that's
kind of the feud you go through.
How did I play that? Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's how I mostly remember it. Yeah, and then the summer of Punk abruptly ended with Triple H.
Fucking Triple H. Piece of shit. And get the shovel. Oh, we'll talk about that in a minute too.
Yeah. There's some Monday Night Raw. There's some Monday Night Raw to discuss as well.
So do you want to go into that?
Yeah,
go in headlines.
Let's go in the state of the business. Hang on here. I got a sound drop for it, I think, because I didn't do it last time, as was kindly pointed out to me by Daniel. All right. So state of the business.
This week in wrestling has been quite the extreme mumbo-jumbo of horse shit. The Authority's back, which I think is the biggest, dumbest mistake anyone could ever make, because it totally undermines anything that happened at Survivor Series. Ziggler, Ryback, and Eric Rowan are all fired. I'm going to say quote-unquote because they're not really fired, but that's what they're going to do to play on our emotions. Other shit that's happening right now. Roman Reigns is still a big pile of shit. Daniel Bryan's going to be in the Royal Rumble. And who is John Cena going to face at WrestleMania? It's a question on my mind.
Well, I guess that could be a big thing we could talk about is stuff that has been going on the last few weeks, as well as Royal Rumble predictions and even possibly WrestleMania predictions, considering we're already onto that road.
Yeah.
I know there's a lot of people saying Roman Reigns is going to win.
I don't think so.
I honestly think it would be a mistake at this point.
I think it's a terrible idea. Here's what I think should happen at WrestleMania. This is my prediction. You people can hate me. You can love it. I don't care. I think Mania needs to be Triple H and Sting. That's just what I'm saying. Because that looks like where they're going with this. Bringing the Authority back so early, I think it's to build a program for Sting.
Yeah.
Because I'm assuming Taker's not going to be there. I think Taker and Sting may have been their first idea, but since that's not...
They're about 10 years too late on that.
Since that's not going to happen, I think Triple H is the backup plan, which is fine. I'm not upset with that. I think Triple H and Sting will be a fantastic match regardless. I think anybody versus Sting will be good.
I hope he dyes his hair, though, a little bit darker.
Who, Sting?
Yeah. I mean, that's one of those things that I noticed at Survivor Series, just because he looked a little... Like, even though he had the Sting face paint...
He looked a little old.
He still looked a little old. He still kind of reminded me vaguely of TNA Sting. He just needs to
kind of
darken his hair a little bit. Just try not to look so old.
Use a little just for men. Okay, for Triple H and... Okay, these are my projections as far as, like, the big main events. Triple H, Sting. I think it'll be Rollins, Reigns, Ambrose. I just feel like if they're going to use Reigns, they need to put him against either just Rollins. I think Reigns and Rollins at Mania would be sweet to watch because they haven't really done that yet. They teased it for a bit, but they haven't really like cashed in on that at all. So I feel like that'd be the smart decision.
It seems like something they could do. It's something that I figured they could work up to for next year, but you know what? If they can figure it out this year,
I just don't think Reigns is the good.
I'm thinking Reigns, Rollins, Ambrose. Like if that headlined next year, like for like the title, like I think they would give it because like I think just the last few weeks, like. Rollins has shown that he's pretty much ready to.
Oh, I know, and I'll get into that.
Ambrose is on his way as well. I think he's probably shown it as well. He hasn't been given such crap.
He's stuck in a pretty dead end feud right now, though.
Unfortunately, for as good as I assumed this Ambrose Wyatt thing was going to be, because really between the both of them, they
gimmicked it though. They started putting every gimmick imaginable on.
Yeah, it doesn't help that Ambrose jobbed to a TV at TLC.
Yeah, pretty much
like to a monitor.
Other stuff for WrestleMania. I think Daniel Bryan will win the Rumble. I think they're going to give him that because they didn't give him that last year. I think he'll win it. I think he'll go on to Mania. He'll beat Lesnar, and then Rollins will cash in at Mania. I think that'll start a feud between Bryan and Rollins.
Yeah, I think because number one, I heard that perhaps Brock Lesnar is going to be going back to
He's
UFC.
leaving. Yeah, he's cutting weight now. If you haven't noticed on Raw, Lesnar's been cutting weight every week. He looks smaller. So he's in the process of cutting. And there's a reason for that.
Which is kind of weird, honestly, because, Brock Lesnar always kind of showed me, because, I don't know, maybe I've been listening to too much Jim Cornette shit, but Lesnar always came off to me as someone who, if he could have like an easier schedule and still make a good amount of money, that would be ideal for him.
Yeah.
And I figured WWE is one of those things that would be ideal for him.
Yeah, but...
And then he doesn't have to really put himself out there too much in like a UFC fight. He doesn't have to train so freaking hard.
Well, I think he just misses it, honestly. I think the WWE was a placeholder because he couldn't fight anymore at the time. He was dealing with those intestinal problems. He needed something to do. WWE was there, like the door was open. It's not as big. It's not. And
he can make a crap load of money, not have to show up a bunch.
It's not physically straining, so he can rest. He can take it easy. Now he's better. He's healed up perfectly. He's in fighting shape. So why not? Maybe just go back to it. I know his contract ends in March, and I know it's like heavily speculated he's leaving. I would be surprised if he didn't, honestly, because there's not much left for him to do. And I think he's going to lose the last match. I think he's going to be done after Mania.
Yeah,
I think he's going to lose to Daniel Bryan, make Bryan look like $1 million.
Let's hope so, because I think at this point, because there's a lot of people saying Reigns isn't ready.
He's not ready.
In my mind, it doesn't really too much matter if someone is quote unquote ready or not. I think they made the mistake of having Bryan announce beforehand that he was going to win the Rumble. That he was going to be in the Rumble, and Bryan is still just as hot as From the moment he came back out, he was just as white hot as he was
when he left
a year ago. Yep. So I think at the very least, people wouldn't turn on it as hard as they would have turned on Batista Orton last year. Yeah. But I think they would. I don't think it's not going to help Reigns at all if he ends up winning.
He's on the wrong side of the stick. Even last year at the Rumble, he was the second string guy.
Yeah,
because they were rooting for Bryan until they realized that Bryan was a no-go. And then they switched to Reigns.
They were really just rooting for Reigns because they didn't want Batista to win,
that's
honestly.
What I'm saying. If it comes down to Reigns and Bryan, they're going to...
That'd be
the WWE would be stupid to have Reigns go over that. It just wouldn't make sense.
Yeah.
So I think he needs to go on, have a decent match at Mania. So probably, I would assume Rollins would probably fit the bill the best. But
the one thing I am afraid of is that there are a lot of times where... They look at things that's like, well, I know you want this, but... And then they end up just going with another thing anyway. It's like, yeah, I know you want Bryan, but we're going to give you Batista anyway. And it was just kind of a thing where...
But
they could sit there and say that, oh, it was our plan to have Bryan in the main event the whole time.
Wasn't.
It's like, it absolutely wasn't. You can tell the way he was booked.
According to CM Punk's interview, it was not the plan.
No.
Bryan was not... He was supposed to wrestle Sheamus.
Yeah.
That was the original plan, was Bryan and Sheamus. Which I'm glad they didn't do that. And I'm also fairly certain that Bryan was supposed to stay in the Wyatt family for longer than he was in it.
Yeah. I think that was a big thing too, because he didn't stay in it very long at all.
No, because I think they recognized after Punk left that they had to switch gears and do something. Because the fans were turning their back on the product.
Mm-hmm. And I don't think it would be quite as bad as when Batista won last year, but I think it would still be pretty bad if they didn't at least... WWE needs to almost get that back by just being okay, we didn't give you Bryan last year. So you obviously want Bryan this year. We'll give you Bryan.
And he deserves it. The guy, he never really lost the belt.
Yeah.
So I honestly think, as weird as it sounds, the only logical person that I can picture beating Brock Lesnar is Daniel Bryan. Yeah. As weird as that sounds, because logistically speaking, he shouldn't be able to beat Brock Lesnar. No one should. But the only person I can see beating him is Bryan for some weird reason. In my head, I don't see anybody else.
Because it's the one guy that he hasn't really. He hasn't really had to face him, so it's one of those things that would be okay, number one, there's an interesting matchup. Number two, it's someone he's never really had to deal with before, because he's had to deal with a lot of big, strong, muscular men.
And they're both white hot.
Yes.
Bryan is white hot as a face. Lesnar could not have more heat on him than he does right now.
And not to mention, it would make the perfect David and Goliath story.
Oh, yeah. And the fact that, I think their styles would match extremely... It'd be similar to when Lesnar wrestled Punk. Just a gritty... just a brawl. And the weird part is Bryan's a little guy, but he has a lot of fight in him.
Yeah.
Which would be awesome just to see them two clash. I'm really hoping for Bryan and Lesnar, which leaves the question of where is Cena going to go? And where's Orton going to fit into all this? And like Roman Reigns and Rollins and Ambrose and Wyatt, like what are these guys going to do at Mania? Like where do you see those going? Like it's hard to say because like you want to think of like the top guy versus the top guy, but like Lesnar, Bryan already taken. Triple H will probably be busy with something else. What do the rest of the guys do?
Yeah, I don't.
And Orton being a face, Cena being a face.
Yeah, I was gonna say Cena Orton again, possibly.
What's Ziggler gonna do? Are they gonna push him for Mania? It's tough because I know they dropped the belt off him.
It is one of those weird things where they do have a very stacked roster, so it seems weird that it sounds like perhaps Cena or Orton or Ziggler or somebody would just be in like a throwaway one-on-one match.
Yeah,
unless they build up a good story. I mean, hell, they've got enough time.
I mean, on Raw, Ziggler, Ryback, Rowan all got fired. So where that goes from here is remaining to be seen. As far as where Cena stands, because it's just a weird dynamic. Like, who's going to do what?
Yeah.
Because you have so many guys. Because they've tried to do throwaway matches, like TLC. That's all it was. And they won't do that for Mania. They'll have a purpose. It's just weird to figure out like what are they going to do with all these guys.
I highly doubt that all of between Ziggler, Ryback, and Rowan, I think they're going to have to. I don't think they won't have much of a choice but to bring Ziggler back in like a big way. Ryback, they could bring him back in a pretty big way too. I'm gonna go on a limb and assume by WrestleMania time, Rowan's pretty much not going to be much of anything.
Yeah, and I think I see a heel turn for Ziggler maybe,
possibly.
That would make sense. Like having Ziggler and Cena maybe at Mania would make some sense. Again, only time will tell. Orton, I mean, will he be back by Mania? He should be back by Mania.
He's
due to come back here soon.
So he's due back any day now, really, because he didn't actually have an injury as far as I know.
He was filming the Condemned too.
Yeah, I mean they brought him to St. Louis for Survivor Series, so
yeah. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do for Mania because there's a lot of options out there. Nothing's in stone yet, obviously, because we're not even to the Rumble yet. But yeah, it's a which kind of brings me into another thing with the Authority coming back already. How do you feel? I want a tell-all speech. How does Tyler feel about the Authority coming back after barely 2 months?
I knew it was going to happen. Like I knew the Authority was going to come back.
But the way
eventually.
they did it was horseshit.
Yeah, I got to be honest because like out of all people, it's like I'm going to break Edge's neck, which number one was a great heel moment for Rollins. Mm-hmm. But number two. Like, are we just kind of supposed to forget that like Edge and Cena was like a thing? Are we just supposed to be like, oh yeah, Cena would come out and stick up for his best friend? It's like, do we not remember all the shit that Edge and Cena went through?
They recapped it a little bit.
I guess
Cena and Edge had a little moment. I respect you as
a mutual respect thing. Yeah, okay. Once again, I skimmed through.
Well, here's what I hated about the whole bit. Rollins was gonna do it, and Cena caved. Like, bring back the Authority. And then Rollins like, I'm gonna do it anyway. And then Cena stopped him. Yeah. Like, why not just stop him the first time? If you're capable of stopping him,
that is one thing that made me.
You ruined the whole bit because you stopped him anyway.
Yeah.
Like, you could have just stopped him without bringing back the Authority.
Yeah, it's stupid. Because it's like the way his move goes, he's gonna have to
run off the ropes.
He's gonna have to run off the ropes and then do it. Like
it's like, dude, like Cena, just stop him. Like, just go in the ring and push Edge out of the way. Not that hard to do. It's interesting though, like how that's gonna work out because Edge and Christian have been around for a while now, like a few weeks. They've been popping up. So I wonder if they're gonna keep him around or if they're gonna like.
Not to mention, I forget where Christian was when this whole Edge thing. Was he like up and there? Like,
it was the Cutting Edge Peep Show. He was being held back by a J&J security.
Okay.
But they came back on SmackDown and was like, "We're going to sue the Authority," and then the security was like, "You can't."
I love how another thing. I love how J&J security is like, they can be bumbling idiots when the time needs to be. And then they'll be like super serious guys, like because it's like, oh, these two can do drop downs and leapfrogs, and then bump into each other, or they can go get caned or some shit by Dean Ambrose, but Christian can't do shit against either one of these guys.
That's true.
It's like, seriously.
They're like the strongest doofs I've ever seen. But I don't know. It was a dumb way to bring back the Authority. It just didn't make any sense to me at all. Kind of a waste. No. It really wastes Survivor Series.
Because I really feel like they could have... Like, I knew they had to bring them back, I guess, but it's just...
But did they?
They didn't really have to. I felt like they could have gotten along perfectly well after Survivor Series. They had plenty of stuff without them. Yeah. But no, we gotta have them back because they're interesting or whatnot.
But they weren't. They'd run their course, in my opinion.
Yeah. And they had run their course. They had almost overrun their course in my mind because they were well over a year of stupid bullshit. And Survivor Series was like, all right, it's a great end. Like, sure, why not?
Let's start over.
And then like 6 weeks later, it's like, I bring back the Authority. Like
I was expecting, like, if he was going to bring back the Authority, it was going to be in a big way.
Yeah.
Like heel turn Cena.
Yeah, I wasn't expecting anything just being like, no, don't hurt Edge.
On Raw.
Yeah. I expected it to be like a big heel turn on a pay-per-view or something.
But nope.
They're never going to heel turn him, though.
I know. They should. But they got to find a face that's hot enough to take over for him.
They've got Bryan.
I know, but like they have to...
But that's the thing. That's the thing that it seems like it is that, when they say that Daniel Bryan's a B-plus player, I literally think they believe that. I literally think they don't see Daniel Bryan as a legitimate main event star. And that's one of the big reasons why I'm a little afraid that they will have Roman Reigns win, because I think they legitimately see Daniel Bryan as like... I think they see him in the same light as like Chris Jericho whenever he was around. It was like, oh, he's a hell of a hand. He can put on a great match, and we'll give him a couple of championships, and he can have his little main event run, and then he can go be an upper mid card guy for the rest of his career. Champion. Yeah, he can go be an 11-time Intercontinental Champion for the rest of his career. It's like, dude, why are you refusing to build stars that are right there?
Jericho was just very like a multi. You could use him anywhere.
Yeah,
he was good everywhere.
Yeah,
CM Punk was the same way.
And Bryan would be the same way, but that's not where we want him.
That's true.
Like I think I'm not trying to say we as in like everybody. It's like,
I think everybody though.
I think there's the majority of the people want to see Bryan on top
all the time.
And I have this bad feeling that like
we're in the age of the little man. Yeah. Like honestly, I think most fans are tired of seeing Batista and Roman Reigns' and John Cena's and the big dudes. Like CM Punk, case in point. He was not a big guy, and people loved him. Daniel Bryan, not a big guy. People loved him. Like little dudes.
Yeah.
We like little dudes too.
NXT's full of those guys now too.
That's like the entire roster. Who on the roster is big and talented? I say those two because there's big guys, but they're not talented.
I was just gonna say they got plenty of big guys. There's not talented guys.
Like, I mean, who do you have on there that's big and talented? Nobody.
Yeah,
your main event roster.
Like Kevin Steen's a big guy, but in a different way. But he's actually short.
He's not a big guy though.
Yeah,
he's not like a Batista.
No,
he's not like a Brock Lesnar.
He's not like a big, huge, muscle-bound guy.
He's just a thick guy.
Yeah,
he's just like a thick dude. He's like a Trevor Murdoch. But like, who are your top guys on NXT? Adrian Neville, Sami Zayn, Kevin Owens, Tyler Breeze, Tyson Kidd. I mean, they're all fairly small guys.
Yeah, Balor, Itami, those guys are small.
They're not big either. Even like the big guys on there, like Big Cass, and like the Ascension would be considered big guys by that roster standards, and they're not really huge.
I don't know if I want to discuss the Ascension.
Well, let's talk about it. What about? I haven't seen their shit on
I enjoy the Ascension. I don't enjoy the way commentary was talking about them.
Why?
Now, here's the thing.
Are they faces or heels on Raw?
They're heels.
Okay.
They do the Ryback thing where they're facing jobbers to start off.
Okay.
And fucking commentary. This is why commentary is fucking atrocious. Well, number one, they cut a promo saying that they were better than the Road Warriors because a lot of people were making that assumption that they were like Road Warriors 2.0, and they cut a promo saying we're better than Hawk and Animal. And fucking people lost their minds. Lance Storm on Twitter was like, you don't disrespect Hawk. I turned off Raw. And it's like, dude, they're heels. They're bad guys. They're supposed to tell you that they're better than certain people.
It's like Lance Storm, if you turn the TV off, they're doing their job right. If you got so mad that you had to shut off your television.
One of the things that got me was like I understand Lance's predicament. You know, every time Lance Storm was on TV, I turned the TV off. It's like Lance Storm's not the guy to be sitting there telling people, how dare you? I turned the TV off because this isn't entertaining. It's like, motherfucker, you really weren't. Like
you
after
great performer.
After ECW and WCW, you were not entertaining.
Yeah, you were an un-American. you were not that high on the totem.
And let's be completely honest, even when he was in like ECW, he had just Incredible to build off of, and he was the charismatic one.
Yeah, Lance Storm was not a charismatic person.
No,
technically he was really, really good.
Yes, I will not deny he is a great wrestler,
but he just didn't have charisma for shit.
Yeah,
and they use that. I'm not boring.
I'm not boring.
You are boring. You're like Christopher Nowinski. No one cares about you. Remember who that is?
Yes.
Okay, who can forget him?
Christopher Nowinski.
The Harvard grad with the face shield, who is going to be in the faction whose face is C.J. Parker. The nose broken section.
I can't wait to see that.
That was great. That's a great idea.
Christopher Nowinski coming to NXT.
God. I hope not. I bet he retired.
But yeah, the commentary was shitting on them, as well as because when they were like, because apparently, like, if I remember right, JBL was saying some stuff where it was like, oh, the Ascension's taking on this tag team, and JBL just goes, how is this a challenge at all? And it's like, that's the point. Just don't sit there. The most amazing thing to me is so many times I literally think WWE thinks we're all retarded.
Yeah.
Because it's like, because they have to sit there on commentary and it's like, how is this really a challenge for the Ascension? It's like, duh, we know it's not. We don't know who these two guys are. Obviously, they're about to get beaten the piss out of them by the Ascension.
Yep.
Don't sit here. These guys are like a debuting team, and the commentary shitting all over them. They said a whole bunch of other crap too that kind of pissed me off because it's like, you got this brand new team coming in. Your tag team division needs fucking help.
Yep.
And you're shitting all over this hot new tag team that has some experience together because they've been doing all this shit down in NXT. What the fuck are you doing? Oh, how's this a fucking challenge? It's like, Jesus Christ. There was another bit, I think, like this past week where the Authority comes out. I shit you not. This is what happened. They get in the ring. Triple H and Steph are standing there. Now, I think it was Steph was on the left, Triple H was on the right. I know that because Michael Cole told us that. He's like, yeah, that's Stephanie McMahon on the left and Triple H on the right. And it's like, no shit.
Like we can see.
It's like
we're not blind.
It's like, are you like either they think we're retarded or they think they have to cater to casual fans all the time.
That kind of reminds me of the bit they did with Chris Jericho versus Paul Heyman in a no holds barred fight, a street fight, or what was the other one? A
no disqualification. Or something
it's like they're all this. Don't insult my intelligence.
No holds barred street fight or
no DQ. Like, you're insulting my intelligence. We all know those are the same three goddamn matches.
We all know Brock Lesnar's coming in because they all mean no disqualifications.
Pretty much. It's like, really, like that those are options. That's like, what do you want to call the no disqualification match? Like, what name do you want on it? So dumb.
I always enjoyed when street fights actually looked more like street fights.
Like SummerSlam of 2002?
Yeah, and then the big one to me that I always remember is, I don't even think it was Extreme Rules at the time, but it was... Yeah, it was Extreme Rules, right after Mania 28, between Punk and Jericho, where they didn't come out in their wrestling gear because it was a street fight. They came out in jeans and wrestled in jeans.
Yeah, kind of like Shawn Michaels did at SummerSlam.
Yeah.
Like, it was a fight.
I mean, Triple H came out in his fucking...
No, because it's
still.
Triple H.
Yeah. Because Triple H.
Because Triple H logic. But yeah, no, street fights would actually feel like street fights.
Yeah.
So any match Dean Ambrose is in.
Yeah, I was gonna say Dean Ambrose doesn't have to change. Dean Ambrose doesn't have to change at all.
Do you think he wrestles in jeans or in jeggings?
I actually heard that because there was a lot of people talking about the fact that guys like him wrestle in jeans. I heard that they might possibly, maybe not jeggings, but like
jean tights,
like something. Like they're jeans that you can actually move around in and do stuff.
Like jeggings.
Sort of. But
for men.
Like they're actual, like they're jeans, but it's a slightly different material.
That's what jeggings are.
I know.
They're denim tights.
I don't think of okay, like
I know they're traditionally for females, but we have to understand that wrestlers wear tight clothes.
But Dean Ambrose doesn't wear it doesn't look like really tight clothing. I'm not trying to say they're jeggings because I've seen jeggings. Yeah. They're practically yoga pants, basically.
Yes, I would see Dean Ambrose. That's what everyone wears anyway. They wear ass cheek length yoga pants. It comes down to right, unless you're Big E, then it doesn't even cover your cheeks. But
it doesn't even cover.
It's just they just wear yoga pants. If you think about it, the majority of tights are yoga pants. That shiny yoga pants.
It's just spandex.
Just spandex.
It's spandex underwear.
It's like yoga pants in a wrestling ring. Except some of them are butt length, some of them are half butt length, some of them go down to mid thigh. Some of them are real long, and some of them are baggy as shit. It's all yoga pants.
I'm going to change gears. This has nothing to do with anything, but you just made me think of something.
Yoga pants.
Slightly.
Okay.
There is an extreme shortage of, once again, go with me here, an extreme shortage of people who wear long tights now.
It's true.
If you've noticed that. Because at least back 10, 15 years ago, there was a whole bunch of people who were at least wearing long tights or something. That was kind of a big thing between Eddie and Jericho and Benoit and all these guys. And there used to be a long tights thing. Now it's Kofi, Xavier Woods, and Justin Gabriel whenever he's there. And then the Lucha Dragons. It's mostly in NXT that shit's happening.
Aiden English wears long tights.
Yeah, like I said, it's mostly NXT where that shit's happening.
Yeah, who else wears long tights?
Like I said, it's the Lucha Dragons. It's the Lucha Dragons, Kofi, Xavier, and what was the other one that I said?
Zayn.
Zayn and Justin Gabriel.
Gabriel wears them. I would say that Fandango
has that's pants, really.
Those are weird pants.
I think it could still count, though, because they had pants-wearing guys in 10, 15 years ago. Test was a big guy with that. But it's always the weirdest thing because it's guys who usually used to have long tights and then they would switch to just nut huggers.
Yeah, the nut huggers. The nut huggers, man, that's what gets you over.
I guess. There are some guys that just don't need nut huggers.
No, like Bull Dempsey.
Bull Dempsey's one of those dudes who looks better with clothes on.
It's true. Biggie Langston can get away with it because he's built like a tank. Bull Dempsey is built like a pile of gelatin. He's strong, but he's
I'm gonna steal a line from one of the old podcasts that I used to be associated with when I was doing a different wrestling one. He's a Ferrari. He's a tank with a cheesecake engine.
Yes, he enjoys cheesecake very much. Oh, Bull Dempsey. It's interesting, though, that they released Chris Hero for being out of shape. But you got Bull Dempsey, who's just the fat piece of shit.
I told you. You can't be kind of chunky. You either have to be in shape or super fat. I'm telling you, that's how you got to be. You either got to be fucking Adrian Neville in shape, or you got to be fucking Abdullah the Butcher, Big Daddy V. You can't be in between. You can't be kind of chunky. Bray Wyatt only got away with it because he had a good character.
But Bray Wyatt's like Kevin Owens.
Yeah,
he's not fat.
Yeah,
Bray Wyatt's not a fat guy. He's just a thick guy. There's a difference. Dempsey's fat. He's big. Wyatt and Owens, they're not fat. They're very thick people.
Yeah.
They're not toned. They're not defined. They're not built that way. They're built like tanks, just to be wide, fucking senton you.
I would also say I would kind of argue that maybe they are just a little.
But see, that's the thing.
Owens absolutely before he showed up in WWE though.
Yeah.
Absolutely before he showed up in WWE. Dude had a fucking gut on him.
That's what I'm saying, because I know a lot of guys, especially power lifters.
Yeah.
They're not...
He did not have a power lifter stomach,
no, probably
though.
not. But I'm saying I know guys.
I don't even think Wyatt really has a power lifter stomach. He's kind of got the...
But, he's a big guy.
Yeah.
He's still a strong guy. I know a lot of power lifters who don't look like they're built. They look like they're fat.
Yeah.
But they're not fat. They're like squatting like 450.
Yeah, I get those guys. I understand those powerlifter dudes.
That's kind of what I look like when I see Wyatt or I see Owens. I see guys who are super strong, but aren't necessarily in the quote unquote physical shape.
I would say Wyatt kind of has that look. Owens now has that look. Yeah. I'd say Owens like fucking a year ago is maybe not even a year ago, maybe like 2 years ago. Absolutely not, though.
Yeah, well,
it doesn't mean anything, though. Like, he was still super talented. He was still great.
He's not like Ricardo Rodriguez fat. Because Ricardo was out of shape. There's a difference between being out of shape and having a little extra.
But that's what I'm talking about with the Cassius Ohno fat, because he wasn't really fat. Ricardo Rodriguez was not fat.
Yeah.
He was chunky. And that was the thing. That is the worst thing you can be. I'm telling you, that's the worst thing you can be.
It's having weight that you don't wear well.
Yes.
Because, like, some people are built like Kevin Owens is built to have a little extra meat on him. Ricardo Rodriguez is not. Chris Hero is not built that way. He's not built to carry that extra flat, where guys like Wyatt is just a naturally bigger guy. So he can wear that weight a little better than, let's say, like Hero. Because he wears a shirt when he wrestles.
To be fair, Hero actually, even when he was coming back in NXT, looked perfectly fine. He freaking let himself go after he left, but like the shape they wanted him to get into, I think was unrealistic. Like, he was looking perfectly fine. Like, before they actually let him go, those last few times he showed up on NXT, like, I was paying attention to it. Like, it's like, no, he doesn't look bad at all. He looks in perfectly fine shape. Why are you trying to mess with the guy's physique? Like, yeah, he doesn't want to go up to the gym, and I understand that. And I understand that you don't want him to get all fucking fat and slobby, but he doesn't look bad. Like, he's sitting there in underwear tights, and he doesn't look like a fat piece of shit. And he could fucking go.
He didn't look like JBL.
Yeah, he didn't look like JBL before he retired for the first time.
That was terrible.
The fucking man-tits McGee that JBL was, like, leading up to him quitting.
Him and Mysterio?
Oh, my God.
He was in shape. He was in good shape. He's in nice shape. The Samoans are a great example of thick people.
Yeah.
Like, they look fat, but they're just big.
They can get away with being big,
yeah,
too.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, they're not fat, or they are quote unquote fat, but they're still freaking physical specimens in their own right.
Yeah.
I love how we spent the last, 15 minutes just talking about men's physiques.
Talking about men's physiques.
Welcome to the business.
It's something I'm concerned about, because, like I said, I feel like I'm one of those guys who can wear his weight well, because I never look too in shape or too out of shape, but I can still, like I said, I can still put on a couple layers of clothes and not look too bad and still weigh 300 freaking pounds. I mean, I'm 6'4", but...
You weigh 300 pounds?
I used to.
Oh. Okay.
But actually, about a year ago, I weighed 311.
Wow.
Yeah, I got down to 256 over the summer.
Damn.
Yeah.
I didn't know you weighed that.
I think I'm back up to like the 270s or something. That's why I need to, because it was a lot of like grilled chicken and vegetables and dried fruit and stuff like that, and I need to get back into that.
Yeah, tell me about it.
I've been doing
the same thing.
I've been doing a lot of. I love my carbs.
You got it. We trust.
I love my pizza.
But carbs aren't good unless you're trying to like
my pizza and my Chinese food.
Pizza and Chinese every day for me.
I love my pasta and rice. It's hard.
I work at a noodle shop. I know the feeling. I make mac and cheese for a living. It's tough not to eat carbs. We really went on a little trail there.
Yeah.
That's fine though. But yeah, that's kind of our ideas of like Raw, and we really recapped everything there relatively quickly.
Yeah, pretty much. We kind of recapped a lot of the 3 weeks of that and discussed Royal Rumble and what we wanted for WrestleMania.
What else is happening at the Rumble though? Like besides the match.
I heard they changed the Rumble main event.
It's Rollins, Lesnar, and Cena.
Okay, I heard they changed
which I think is, I don't know how I feel about it, because I really hope Lesnar doesn't lose. I really hope Cena doesn't win.
I think I talked about it last time where I fantasy booked what would have been the best option if it was still TLC. Like, have Rollins beat Cena and then have either Ambrose or Wyatt go on to face Lesnar. And my pick probably would have been Ambrose at that time, because Ambrose needed it. Mm-hmm. After the shit they put him through with the Rollins stuff, like he hadn't had a win.
Yeah. I don't know, it's going to be weird to see what happens. I just hope Cena doesn't get the belt back.
Yeah, there's a lot of people who are like there's a lot of people afraid that shit's gonna happen.
I really hope Lesnar takes the belt to Mania.
Yeah, Lesnar
needs that.
To, yeah.
If he's gonna leave, he needs to leave on top. He needs to leave losing to Bryan.
Yeah.
It has to be Bryan.
Yeah. Because if you just have Cena win at Royal Rumble, it completely destroys what you've been building up for the last 11 months. It destroys
Mania. Because no one wants to see Cena at Mania. No one wants to see a main event Mania.
No
one wants that.
People are afraid of a Cena versus Reigns main event. It's like, yeah, that'd be perfect if you want everyone to turn on the show.
Yeah. Everyone would still watch it, but but Lesnar and Bryan's going to be the best drawing point. Because it's Lesnar and Bryan. Like, there's nothing like that you've ever seen. You've never seen a match quite like that.
Yeah.
Like, you just haven't. It's so white hot.
To be fair, we haven't really seen a David versus Goliath type match that would seem believable. Because, like, even when Mysterio was world champion, he was feuding with, like, Big Show and Mark Henry, and it really wasn't too totally believable.
Oh, I mean, Bryan?
Because I'm going back to, like, a David versus Goliath story.
Oh, you said Mysterio.
Yeah, because I was going back to 2006 when when Rey Mysterio was world champion back in 2006. He was feuding with guys like Mark Henry and Big Show.
But yeah, that wasn't...
And it wasn't really totally believable because it's just Mysterio kind of just went from being a cruiserweight guy and then just sort of hopped into the main event.
Yeah, I mean, his match at Mania was a pretty good example, but, like, we haven't seen it because it's a perfect storm. Because you have to have a heel who's big, who's white hot. Because you got to believe that he's unstoppable. And they've done a pretty damn good job with Lesnar making him unstoppable. He killed everybody. Beat Taker, beat Cena. He just he made Jericho look like shit. Like, Jericho put him over big time on that Raw a few weeks back. You got to have a face who's little, who's so white hot that you can believe that he can beat the biggest guy on the block. And we have that with Bryan, because Bryan beat Cena at SummerSlam. That was a moment where, like, oh, he might not, but you were so behind him that he did it. Same with Triple H, same with Batista. It's just, he's just known for overcoming. So, like, if there's going to be a guy who's going to overcome Lesnar, it's Bryan.
Yeah.
There's no one else. I don't believe in anybody else.
I think you've pretty much exhausted all your top stars anyway that could potentially beat him at this point.
Yeah, because you've already killed Cena.
You've killed, because, like, if you rewind far enough back, he's killed Triple H, he's killed Punk, he's killed Cena. Like, now you're gonna have to start bringing up some fresh guys, and you don't really have anyone. Like, they're like I said, I'm afraid that they're gonna assume it could be Reigns.
It's not Reigns. But if I see, like, a match Reigns versus Lesnar, my immediate thought is Lesnar beat the most experienced man in the business, The Undertaker.
Yeah.
Lesnar beat the most dominant world champion in the business, John Cena. Roman Reigns is a new guy on the block. Sure, he's big and hungry, but not experienced.
Yeah.
Not decorated. He's a rookie. It's like putting your rookie quarterback in the starting season, tell him play the best team in the league. It's like they're going to either choke or they're going to get killed. And Roman Reigns is going to be just fresh meat. Just Lesnar, here, have him. It would kill him. It would kill his momentum unless they booked it like an idiot and had Reigns win, which would be terrible. I think people would turn on that, having Reigns beat Lesnar.
I think people would turn on that even before the match actually started.
Because people love Lesnar, whether they like it to admit it or not.
Yeah.
He's so hot as a heel. They need to have a believable guy to beat him. And Reigns isn't believable. So if you beat him, it would just be shitting on Lesnar. And I don't think Lesnar's the kind of guy who's going to let himself be shit on.
Yeah.
So I think Lesnar will lobby for the best possible booking in his favor, which is Bryan. Because there's really no one else.
Yeah, I hope that kind of shit happens.
Yeah, this is me. I don't know. I hope I have my hopes for what I want to see at Mania, but we'll see what happens.
I know you. I only showed you like one freaking match, but I want to try to pull up the Wrestle Kingdom 9 card because that actually happened this past weekend.
Okay.
And just try to give you a quick rundown on that and then tell you whether or not you should watch it, because I'm sure there's probably some people here who, including my own co-host, who haven't watched it and perhaps maybe have heard about it or, you know, something along those lines. Definitely something to check out. I won't even go into the New Japan Rumble. That was pretty cool. It was a whole lot of like new and old guys kind of going at it as a big, huge like Rumble thing. That was like a pre-show deal. It was like, eh. It opened up with Red Dragon, Bobby Fish, Kyle O'Reilly. Forever Hooligans, Alex Kozlov, Rocky Romero. The Time Splitters, Alex Shelley and Kushida. And the Young Bucks, Matt and Nick Jackson.
Boom.
Amazing match. If you're ever into like high flying, big, huge spots, and like if you're ever like a big fan of like TNA's X Division, and you love like watching like the bodies flying around and it just looking like a car wreck, and it's just spots and just this great fast paced action. It was kind of funny actually, because this was the first match that JR and Stryker called, and JR just couldn't keep up. JR literally, like, he was missing half the spots because he just couldn't keep up with it at all. But that was an absolutely fantastic match. Red Dragon ended up winning that one. But definitely at least check out that one. Let's see. Hiroshi Tenzan, Satoshi Kojima, and Tomoaki Hanma. They faced the Bullet Club of Bad Luck Fale, Jeff Jarrett, and Yujiro Takahashi. It was an okay match. It was only 5 minutes long. Didn't take a whole lot of time. Tenzan, Kojima, and Hanma won. Hanma won with a I think it was like a headbutt or a splash or something, which
Bowflex.
Which basically there's always got to be at least one reference every episode.
Yeah, when you say diving headbutt, I immediately think Bowflex.
There's always got to be a Bowflex reference in every episode that we have.
We pay homage to Chris Benoit.
But the thing about Hanma is when he goes up for that's his...
I just thought of a t-shirt idea.
Oh, no.
I want to have a picture of Benoit with a Bowflex that says, "Do you even lift?"
Jesus.
Oh, man. Oh, shoot.
Let's get on that shit.
Oh, man.
Can't wait to see that on Redbubble.
I'll send it to WWE. Will you guys use my shirt idea? Perfect. Great idea. Do you even lift? Oh, goodness. That's a lawsuit waiting. Oh, no one in his family can sue me.
But, Tenzan, Kojima, and Hanma are great. Hanma ended up winning the match with a body splash or headbutt or something. It was some sort of top rope move. I bet you if I look...
Every time you say headbutt, I just think of Benoit.
Yeah, it was. I'll just... Yeah, it is a headbutt. But the thing about it is he has the... As I ended up finding out, he has the success rate of hitting that as Ric Flair does in the top rope.
Perfect.
Like, when Ric Flair boards the top rope, you know he's about to get tossed off.
Yep.
That's kind of with him, too. Like, when he's about ready to do a headbutt, like, you know the guy's going to move. It's almost nil with him hitting it, and he managed to hit it at the biggest event and win, yeah. Jeff Jarrett looked all right for a guy who's, I think, almost 50. Damn. Bad Luck Fale is Bad Luck Fale. He's not great. And Yujiro Takahashi is awesome. I know he's just now starting to become something, I think, but like he's almost like a glorified jobber. But
okay.
Yujiro Takahashi's big thing is that he kind of turned his back on I'm trying to think, like Japan pretty much, because the Bullet Club is supposed to be like a parody almost of like
NWO.
Of NWO DX. It's just a parody of American wrestling stables.
Okay.
And he joined. He's really the only Japanese guy. And that's his deal, is that he kind of sympathize. He's almost like a sympathizer for the Bullet Club, and joined them and became a part of them.
He's freaking Rob Conway of Japan.
Except he always brings a porn star down with him.
Perfect.
Well, they call it like an AV star, but it's a Japanese porn star.
Perfect.
Like that's who he has. He always brings a new Japanese porn star down to the ring with him.
Perfect.
Let's see, 8-man tag match. It was Mikey Nichols, Marufuji, Shane Haste, and Toru Yano. Yano's from New Japan. The other three guys are from Pro Wrestling Noah, because I think they were doing a big clash for this match. They defeated Suzuki Gun, Davey Boy Smith Jr., Lance Archer, Shelton X Benjamin, and Takashi Iizuka. And
there's some familiar names.
Yeah, Davey Boy Smith Jr., Lance Archer, Shelton X Benjamin.
X-Benjamin.
X-Benjamin. I don't know why it's the X, actually. I'm not 100% sure. I didn't pay too much amazing attention to that. I paid a little bit of attention to it just because it was like a 5-minute match. Lance Archer did like the greatest choke slam in the history of ever. I can't remember who he did it to. It was it was either Nichols or Haste.
He killed somebody.
But he ended up killing. It was like Kane in his prime when he does a choke slam where he just, because Archer's like a 7-foot dude, so he picks up the dude. The dude managed to jump. He goes all the way up.
We're talking about Lance Hoyt, right?
Yes.
He's 7 foot. He's a big guy.
I think
Pretty sure he's not that big of a guy.
Pretty sure he's almost 7 feet tall. All right, 6 feet 8. Close.
He's still tall. I didn't think he was that tall.
Yeah, 6 feet 8. I knew he was a tall dude.
Oh, I didn't know he was that tall.
Yeah.
I always pictured him as a little guy.
No, he's not a little guy. He's a big dude, yeah.
I never really saw him work in WWE when he was there.
Yeah. I saw him a lot in TNA, which I guess isn't really a huge deal considering he was surrounded by freaking X Division guys, so of course he looks huge. That's why I assumed he was about 7 feet tall.
What was he? Was he on ECW in WWE?
Yeah, for a little bit.
Didn't last very long,
as Vance Archer.
Yeah. No, he didn't last long.
Yeah.
Knock, knock.
He did a lot better in that was Chris Harris.
I know.
But yeah, he did better in TNA when he was part of the Rock and Rave Infection.
Good God.
Yeah. Which still was a comedy tag team at the very least.
Kind of. It was like 3MB for TNA.
Yeah. They literally came down with Guitar Hero guitars. I remember that much.
Yep, I remember that too. Christy Hemme was in that group too. I remember that.
Kind of a forgettable match. It was all right for the 5 minutes that it went on. It was still kind of forgettable. The Noah guys ended up winning, so that was pretty cool. Minoru Suzuki and Kazushi Sakuraba. It was an awesome match. It was actually like a worked fight, basically.
Nice.
Because the thing about Suzuki and Sakuraba is they both have legit MMA backgrounds. Suzuki actually started, if I can see here, Pancrase. He was the founder of Pancrase, which is one of the world's first MMA organizations. And Sakuraba is known as the Gracie Killer because he actually has wins over Royler Gracie, Renzo Gracie, Ryan Gracie, and Royce Gracie. Yeah. Yep. And he's best known for actually going 90 minutes with Royce Gracie.
Damn.
But yeah, these two have a legit MMA background and had a match. Like it was like I said, it was kind of brought in as almost a worked fight because the only way that match could end is by knockout submission or referee stoppage. And that's how it ended up happening. I would definitely check that out. It wasn't even 10 minutes long, but it was still like amazing. It was one of those things where it was like, wow, that felt like a story was actually being told here. It was a really good match. So yeah, definitely check that out as well. Togi Makabe and Tomohiro Ishii. I hope I'm probably butchering at least a couple of these names. But Makabe and Ishii had a never open weight championship. Very, like, if you want to know what Japanese strong style looks like hard hitting, stiff Japanese match looks like, that's the match. These dudes spent 12 minutes beating the piss out of each other.
Perfect.
It was a great match, and they just beat the piss out of each other for 12 minutes, and it was great to watch that as well. Kenny Omega and Ryusuke Taguchi, I believe.
That guy.
Yeah, it was a junior heavyweight, the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship match. Yeah, I didn't really know much about Taguchi at all. I've known Kenny Omega, I've seen Kenny Omega through his other stuff he did in Japan, as well as like Ring of Honor and all that other stuff. So, and he just came in like a couple months ago and is the junior heavyweight champion, and it was a great match as well.
Nice.
It was one of those. It was definitely worth watching. Kenny Omega is a very entertaining guy. Yes, I think he's fairly underrated, I would say, in that aspect. But he's kind of middle of the road as far as that is. It's not like one of those. He's not like one of those guys where you'd be like, oh yeah, he's heavyweight championship material. But he's definitely good where he's at. But he's also a very talented guy. Yeah. To let that know. Let's see. Tag team championship was the next one. Mayu Tag, which is Goto and Shibata. They faced Doc Gallows and Carl Anderson from the Bullet Club. That was another good match. I mean, it was a good tag match. I mean, I would say in comparison to some of the other matches that I talked about, like the Suzuki Sakuraba and the junior tag match, like it's not one of those that immediately jumps out. It was definitely a good match.
Yep.
And it was kind of fun because I didn't even know that Gallows and Anderson had held those belts for a solid year, because they had won it at Wrestle Kingdom 8, and then they ended up holding it until Wrestle Kingdom 9, and that was definitely a great match as well.
Dang.
Some of the other ones to check out, let's see, after that was AJ Styles and Tetsuya Naito. That was definitely a great match as well, just because AJ Styles kind of had a good story coming in of the fact that he was breaking people's necks legitimately with the Styles Clash. Yep. So that kind of became the story, is that he was going to break Naito's neck by hitting him with the Styles Clash. Brutal. And it was a great match. It was about 14 minutes. It was a fun match. Nothing really totally stands out to me as far as like a lot of the stuff in there, other than a middle rope, like a second rope Styles Clash to end it, which was great. It was, no titles were on the line there. It was just a great match between two upper card guys.
Just a good fight.
Yeah, between the former champion and a guy who's, I think, hopefully gonna, I think he definitely on his way to becoming the champion at some point. The next match is the match to watch. It is the match to watch, and that was Shinsuke Nakamura and Kota Ibushi for the IWGP Intercontinental Championship. That was a 5-star match. It's one of those things that it was 20 minutes. It didn't feel like 20 minutes because I was just, the first time that I was watching it, it was actually kind of funny because the way I was watching it is I have 2 monitors. I have my small one and my big one, and I was doing something on my big one, and I just kind of had the match started on my small one. And I was like, because I knew who Shinsuke Nakamura was, and I was a big fan of Kota Ibushi. I'm still a huge fan of Kota Ibushi. But that was one of those things that after about the first 5-6 minutes, I just stopped what I was doing to watch that match, because it was like, I gotta be attached to this match, and it was a phenomenal match. It told a phenomenal story. Mm-hmm. And then the next one that told a phenomenal story, the main event, which was Hiroshi Tanahashi and Okada. I'm not even going to try to pronounce his first name.
These names are something else.
Like Kazuchika or something like that.
Kazuchika.
Like Kazuchika. That's probably close to how it is. I can't remember. Anime's somewhat helping me out by watching that, but it's not helping out
trying to pronounce names.
Yes.
I don't even want to try.
That was half an hour long, and it was a good match. It was a great match, and I know a lot of people were sort of complaining that they thought Okada should have won.
No.
But those the people that kind of I ended up seeing it for someone who's been watching a lot of it and had a great perspective on how the whole, because it's the beginning of the year show for them, so they were trying to set the tone, and that's one of those things that someone was talking about. It's like, well, Tanahashi beat Okada, which kind of sets the tone for the whole year of now, because they were saying well, Tanahashi, he was on top of the mountain, and Okada had conquered the mountain last year. And basically what happened in this match is, even though Okada had conquered the mountain already, he was trying to do it again, except this time Tanahashi, instead of kicking him off the mountain, just built the mountain higher. And so now the whole year is probably going to be spent with Okada trying to get up on top again. So it's definitely a good story, and it was definitely a great match to check out. And that was
card.
That was the whole card right there.
It's a little indie wrestling for you folks out there.
I know there was, mostly spoilers there, hopefully, but I apologize if you were trying to watch it or something like that, but I just definitely want you to check out some of those matches. They were definitely great.
Which once you guys know, there's more wrestling out there than the E.
Yes,
there's more good wrestling out there.
See, I watched a good amount of wrestling. I just didn't watch much of WWE.
See, that's okay. We need the diversity.
I literally sat for 4 hours and watched that. It was great. Nice. There were some bits, like I said, the tag team, that 6-man tag match and the tag team title match,
gold stacked on gold.
Yeah, I kind of phased out a little bit. It was just it's Doc Gallows, so it was still a great match, but
Every card.
I don't remember everything that happens in some of that stuff, just because it was like, okay, this seems like a boring part. I'm gonna focus on this.
Yeah.
But that was definitely check out Wrestle Kingdom. I think you can maybe find it online. I'm not 100% sure, where you can buy it.
Maybe.
I don't know if Global Force Wrestling, they were the ones who did the English commentary. Oh, that's another thing it definitely is worth as well, is Global Force Wrestling did English, they provided English commentary for this event, which is kind of the first time New Japan ever had that.
Yep.
And they had Jim Ross and Matt Stryker as the commentary team for that.
Which is totally
and
awesome.
It was great. Like I said, at first, especially with the junior tag stuff, Jim Ross was a little lost. But he definitely got into it. But by the time they got to the Styles match and all that, he was actually there was actually a part, I think, in the Tanahashi match or the Tanahashi Okada match where Okada pulled off a drop kick and JR just started marking out. It was actually great. He's like, "Oh, Okada with a drop kick!" Like he got legit excited. It was
Stone Cold.
It was phenomenal.
Stone Cold.
So that was the whole thing. Goober of the Week award. Let me do that real quick.
I'm a goofy goober. You're a goofy goober.
Daniel.
Yeah.
You have a goofy goober of the week.
I do. It's not wrestling related, but I have one.
All right.
We're going to venture into the world of mixed martial arts here for a second.
We didn't even talk about that.
We're going to talk about Johnny Bones Jones is this week's goober of the week for winning a fight against Daniel Cormier and then checking into rehab for cocaine 2 days later. You, sir, are a goober. Why? I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. It's really, man, yeah, coke problem.
I think it's mostly a promotion. I think it's mostly a show of good faith thing. I think, honestly, because like I said, from what I heard, that test was taken back in last
December.
Month. Yeah,
but here's the thing: we don't know how much trouble he's in because the post-fight tests haven't come out yet. They take a test after they fight.
Yeah,
and that the results haven't come out. So if he drops dirty on the post-fight test,
he should drop the belt.
He's going to. If he drops dirty on the post, the reason he wasn't forced out of the fight is because it was out of season.
Yeah,
it was out of fight season. So it wasn't a big deal. It wasn't during fight week. So they can't really. It's not a legal thing. So, but it's really, man, come on.
I mean, technically it is an illegal thing, but
Well, I mean, it's illegal in the sense of.
So the guy wants to go. So the guy wants to take a few bumps of coke on his off days.
He dropped dirty for the main metabolite in cocaine. They didn't test positive for cocaine.
Okay.
So it's what it was. They don't really look at that kind of thing. It was an anomaly. So they let him fight, and afterward he checked into a facility. It's all right. I
don't imagine he's going to be there for long, though.
I don't know. We'll see what happens. But, I don't know. I wasn't impressed with his fight anyway. He was really classless. Do you know what happened? The last, 10 seconds of the fight, Cormier's got him in a single leg takedown, trying to take him down. Dude just throws his arms up. I just won. 10 seconds for the bell. Cormier's what the fuck you doing? Backs off, and Jones just punches him in the face and crotch chops him. DX style. Punched him, bell rang, crotch
John
chop.
Jones did that?
Yeah. Before the bell even rang. 10 seconds to bell, puts his arms up he won. Cormier's what the fuck? Punched him, and then crotch chopped him. I was how classless can you be? And then he goes to rehab for coke.
That's shit that fucking Dana White got pissed off at Anderson Silva doing.
Yeah.
Anderson Silva had a fight. This was during his whole championship reign. He was beating everybody. I think it was one of those in Abu Dhabi or something somewhere. It was somewhere overseas, and he was doing some sort of fight, and he wasn't taking it seriously at all. He was just sitting there hot dogging and just kind of hey, come on. Obviously not taking it seriously. And I heard it was one of those rare times that Dana White didn't even put the title on him. He just kind of threw the title into the cage and left. And it was one of those things that he said, "You better not fucking do that again. I'll take it from you." This is probably one of those times he could probably step in and just.
But he's not. He's all supportive of Jones.
Yeah. Of course, because he makes some money.
Yeah, makes some Silva made money too. Yeah.
That's the thing. As long as he makes some money, like, he doesn't give a shit.
I don't know. That's my goober of the week, though. John Jones for being stupid and doing drugs. Drugs are bad, kids. Don't do them. Fucking dumbass. I don't know. I'm not a fan of the guy anyway. Used to be, not much anymore, just because he's not a classy guy. But
yeah,
he's a goober.
I'll give a very preemptive goober of the week right now. Not really a goober of the week right this. Well, it could be right this second because we're not watching it. I'm going to give it to Impact Wrestling because as we're recording right now, Impact Wrestling is having their debut on Destination America after being unceremoniously booted off Spike TV.
More or less.
So,
more or less,
it seemed like the perfect time for TNA to be like doing a whole rebuild, just reboot. Like, okay, let's take a step back, realize that now we hardly have a good TV spot.
At least they have a TV spot.
They have a TV spot. Not a great one, but maybe they could take the look back and be like, you know what? We'll just start anew. I think they replaced Mike Tenay with Josh Matthews now.
Nice.
As announcers. But other than that, they didn't really change anything. As far as I've heard, besides the logo, they didn't really change anything. Which, by the way, the logo looks like something out of 2006.
Perfect.
Like, it looks like it because it's got like the gradient and everything, and it's like gradient doesn't look good anymore. That's not the in thing. It's solid color, something simple, clean.
Yep.
That's what you
like
should
the
have.
network is just a W.
Yes. It's simple, it's clean. There you go.
Perfect.
But, they insist on having a slightly new logo. It doesn't look terrible, but it doesn't look great. Yeah. And from what I've heard, I think they had the Ross Report, JR's podcast, and he had Dixie Carter on.
Nice.
And essentially she said they weren't really... This is how she said the new Impact Wrestling was going to be. Number one, they weren't going to use the time to change the name to TNA. They weren't going to change the TNA name. Even though it sorely needs it, they could easily just be called like Impact Wrestling or something like that. But she's like, no, we're going to keep TNA because it still has brand value. It's like, yeah, but the brand value is shit.
It is shit, thanks to Bischoff and Hogan.
Yeah, it's like the last... have you not been paying attention the last 4 years? People don't want to... When people think TNA, they think complete shit.
They think second rate.
Like, they had been doing pretty good in certain parts this year, but other than that, it's not... Your brand name's been kind of run into the ground thanks to the Hogan-Bischoff era.
Yep.
So, this would be a perfect time to change it. No, let's not change it. It's like, alright, fucking whatever. And I think Jim Ross asked her, like, okay, so what changes have you made? Like, what are you going to do differently now that you're on Destination America? She basically told them that the difference between Impact Wrestling on Spike and Impact Wrestling on Destination America, they're not really changing anything. It's going to be pretty much the same except better.
Perfect.
It's like, that's great. You've been sitting here talking about that the whole freaking time.
Like, it's like a big shit sandwich, but we're going to add mayo.
Yeah, it's like, Hulk Hogan's coming in, and it's going to be great. He's going to change the face of TNA wrestling. It's going to be just the same TNA, but better. Hulk Hogan and Bischoff are gone, and now we're going to have to deal with all of this, and we're moving out of the Impact Zone, but don't worry, it's going to be the same great TNA, but better. Like, that is always everything she said.
The same TNA is always
everything that she's ever said. That's how it's worked. It was like, it's going to be the same, but better. And it's like, no, if it's not,
be different.
It has to be different in order to be better, because right now the name has been run into the ground.
It's all shit, pretty much. So Goobers, TNA and John Jones.
Because I imagine Impact Wrestling's not a huge thing right now.
No.
Like, I imagine if I flipped over onto Destination America right now, I imagine you're watching the same crap that you did a few weeks back on Spike TV.
Probably. I would go ahead and say that's probably.
So that takes us to a very, very well-known segment. Actually, if you look right out the door there, we have ourselves our special guest. He's been here the last couple times, and he is back once again to give you a little bit of slice of his brain, giving you some life advice.
I told him to give too big of a slice. It's all he's got. I'm sorry.
How to deal with being a wrestler. How to deal with just being a person getting along in life.
How to be a real Native American surviving in an American world.
So that brings us to our very special guest. This
Don't even say it.
I'm just gonna play the intro. Ladies and gentlemen, here he is. And now, wrestling advice from wrestling icon and PWI Top 500 superstar, Chief Atakula.
Hey everybody, it's the Chief Atakula here, giving you some life advice. If you ever want to aspire to be in the PWI 500, all you gotta do is the following. Just gotta suck a big dick and give yourself a no-call power driver. Take the ticket, you son of a bitch.
That was wrestling advice from wrestling icon and PWI Top 500 superstar, Chief Atakula. Chief Atakula, thank you so much for being here once again. Oh, he has already left. Jeez, for a guy his size, I can't believe he moves that fast.
Just comes in, takes his payday, and leaves. And no pile driver.
No call pile driver. That sucks. I was going to ask him if you have to cup the balls, but that's all right.
You always cup the balls.
You always cup the balls.
Maybe one day we're actually going to have him on the show.
Oh my god. Just no call pile drivers through my desk.
Maybe we'll give you a no-call pile driver over the phone. Maybe we can call him up.
He just pile drives his cell phone.
What if we just start reaching out to him every week? Like, hey, you want to be on the show? And just berate him with questions.
Oh my god.
So when did you learn that you sucked?
I absolutely believe that the first time we would try to get a hold of him, he would be like, oh, you want to put me on a podcast? That's cool.
He'd probably become on the show.
Oh my god.
Let's
not.
He probably doesn't okay.
I'll just say let's not and say we did.
We'll build this up for months. We'll just keep having him come on, give life advice, then we'll eventually have him on the show. He won't have a fucking clue. And then we'll just be like, so when did you realize that you really suck dick at wrestling?
Everyone be prepared.
Man,
I'm gonna say December 2015. The 1 year anniversary show of this.
I want people to mark that down. I want you people to ask for this.
The 1 year anniversary of this episode, we will have Chief in here.
Go to his fucking Twitter and ask him to be on our show. I'm asking all of you as friends.
Oh my god!
To ask Chief Atakula to come on our show. That guy.
I think you can find him at.
No, it's actually www.imabigpieceofshit.com. That's where you find Chief Atakula.
Oh, all right. That's more Trash Bag Wrestlers.
He's on You Are Not Getting Booked. He's on Trash Bag Wrestlers and garbage wrestling sites everywhere.
Coming to a high school gymnasium near you.
Or a bingo hall.
Or
someone's backyard.
That's a little bit better. I mean, bingo hall, you could at least still feel
that's legitimately what he does, though. He just wrestles in backyards.
Going to a backyard near you.
It's like the rings with the 4 wooden posts in the ground and the freaking the bungee cords and the mattresses on the ground.
That's, you know what? We're setting up a reunion show for our backyard trampoline.
And we're going to invite Chief Atakula.
Chief Atakula is going to be at the reunion show for our backyard trampoline wrestling.
He's going to draw.
We did.
Draw. We'll bring the entire World Alliance with him. I wonder how much I really hope. I just wonder the heat wave that'll come if he ever hears these podcasts.
These motherfuckers keep making fun of that big Chief.
These sons of bitches.
You son of a bitch.
Just bust through your door.
You little motherfucker.
You motherfucker. Oh my god.
Oh, why do you talk like a woman?
I don't know.
That's alright. If we can get enough open space, we can outrun them.
Yeah, we probably could. Just drop kick the knee. Or throw a cupcake in the opposite direction. They'll both probably work. Oh, it's great.
Meanwhile, his 2 daughters are sitting there shaking the drum things. Let's go, Chief! Let's go, Chief!
God, we're terrible people.
I know.
We're going to hell.
I know.
Well, so, is it time?
It is now time for... It is now time to expand our minds and... read a little bit of literature. Ladies and gentlemen, this is the main event of our show. This is excerpts from Briley Pierce's second book. Well, yes, the last time we were around here, the last time we were dealing with this, we were dealing with both of them, both Tyler and I don't even remember the other author's name. They were both dealing with job interviews and how to deal with job interviews. Her advice was, of course, your normal advice of not lying on your resume, feeling a little bit of confidence, not being too intimidated or scared. How to fill out the resume. It could be. It could be a little bit daunting, but how to do that. And, of course, Tyler had his own feeling of how to deal with the interview. That's also included having sex for several hours with the interviewee. I mean, you can take whichever life advice you would like. But, yeah, this comes right after Tyler was telling everybody to to have sex with their interviewee, tell them that they work for George Washington at the Gap, and then have sex again.
Are we going to do this now?
Yes, we are. This is officially the excerpt from Briley Pierce's book. All right. Timeout. Okay, timeout. That last section was ridiculous. It didn't come close to offering the reader any type of actual help with how to handle a job interview. It was basically just Tyler having a sex fantasy while typing. And may I please point out that there is no woman on earth that would crawl across a desk and engage in sex for several hours with Tyler, because there isn't. And why is it titled Part 1 of 8? Why are there 8 parts? And also, it goes without saying that this is not how job interviews work. But I'll say it anyway. That is not how job interviews work. I honestly cannot believe I'm paired up with this guy. This must be a joke. I'm going to step into the other room, smoke my electric cigarette, it's been 17 days since I've had a real one, and come back to the workplace etiquette section. Takeaways. Erase Tyler's last section from your brain. It's been 17 days since I've had a cigarette. Do not, under any circumstances, use the word chesty during a job interview.
Don't use chesty.
In defense of the interview section, doesn't it kind of seem like Allison is so upset because she's jealous that she wasn't in my sex fantasy? Yeah, right. The only way a dweeb like her would be in my sex fantasy is if I needed someone to sit there with a notebook to tally the number of orgasms each hot chick had. It'd be around 75 each. Orgasms, I mean. Takeaways. Each girl would have 75 orgasms.
Each one.
Workplace etiquette. You've been hired. Good work. You got the job. Once you arrive at your new place of employment and meet your colleagues, you'll probably notice that your new job has its own set of rules, or what I like to call its own unique workplace etiquette. Every work environment has a different workplace etiquette specific to its location, industry, and type of people working in it. No two workplaces are alike, and thus no two jobs require the same etiquette. A firefighter does not follow the same etiquette at the firehouse as, say, an embalmer does at a funeral home, or a clown does at the circus. Can you imagine a world in which all these jobs had the same silly workplace etiquette? Instead of preparing a corpse for burial, an embalmer might be found wearing silly makeup, walking around in cartoonishly large shoes, and juggling the dead bodies of your loved ones. Why would that be confusing? Takeaways. Each different workplace has a different workplace etiquette. It has been 17 and a half days since I've had a cigarette, and I feel great. Speaking of funeral homes, I'm reminded of a pretty good story. Is it okay if I don't write about workplace etiquette and tell you this awesome story instead? Okay, good, because I'm pretty sure workplace etiquette is a phrase Allison made up anyway. My friends in college used to live in a renovated ex-funeral home. Yes, the building was previously a funeral home, but it had been converted into a living space. So for the last few years, it had been used as a huge tri-level house for university students. Although it was made into a home and contained a large number of college students, beer pong tables, non-matching couches, neon bar signs, and everything else a college party house is expected to have, it still had a lot of leftover funeral home type stuff. The drapery, some of the furniture, and the overall makeup and feel of the building was still very funeral homey. That made it just slightly creepy for me when I'd come over to hang out. Also, there were several old metal gurneys in the basement, and even though they were painted over and welded shut, you could see the weird little chambers that bodies were cremated in. Yes, creepy.
So fucking creepy.
Needless to say, this was the house that had always been the big Halloween, that always had the big Halloween party each year. I heard that once, a few years before my buddy moved into the place, the kids who lived there took one of their drunkenly passed out friends in the basement and tied him to a gurney and just left him there. Can you imagine waking up in a stupor to find yourself strapped to an old wobbly gurney in the dark basement of an ex-funeral home with the little cremation chambers and everything? I would have pissed my pants for sure. The end. Time out again. Time out. It is understood, or at least I hope it is, that Tyler is not fit to write a self-help book for anybody. I don't think any of the readers would dispute that at this point. But can't he at least stick to the subject matter? This isn't supposed to be a collection of stories about parties Tyler has been to. And, by the way, that wasn't even a story. It was a half story. And I have valuable information to pass on to interested readers who paid good money for this book. And I'm genuinely sorry for them to have to be subjected to his idiocy. If you are reading this, please just try to stick to the script. We have been hired to write a book in which we attempt to help young people who are on the verge of starting their careers. We have not been hired to type out wild sexual fantasies and reminisce about how great a Halloween party was that you went to during your college days. Although I am slightly impressed that you went to college, or at least lived near one, so you have that going for you. At least you aren't 100% unqualified for this task. Please don't be flattered by that statement. It was mostly sarcastic. Takeaways. It has been 17 and 3/4 days since I've had a cigarette. You know, you're the one who brought up funeral homes. So if you're going to flip out on someone, maybe you should flip out on yourself. Anyway, I think that so far, my parts of the book are way better than yours. You haven't even given any good, solid advice yet. You talk about interviews and workplace etiquette and all this stupid shit. But what about real-life situations? How is workplace etiquette going to help you when your car gets broken into and you know for a fact that it was one of the office maintenance people, but you can't say anything because then everyone will think you're a racist? Huh? Where's that chapter? Solve that riddle for me, Queen Allison. Takeaways. I'm not a racist. I just know who broke into my car.
I know the facts.
And that sounds like a good place to stop. And that, ladies and gentlemen, was excerpts from Briley Pierce's second book. All right.
It's a good time.
That was definitely a good time.
It was fun.
Yeah, this was definitely good.
It was good.
I
Considering that we walked into this with nothing.
We walked into it just being like,
we literally sat down before this like, what do you want to talk about? I don't fucking know. What do you want to talk about? Like, did you watch wrestling the past month? Not really. I kind of got the gist of it. What about you? I watched this Japanese show. We can talk about that. I shit my pants the other day. Want to talk about that? Let's not talk about that.
It was kind of like, did you watch wrestling? Nah, I've been busy too working and sleeping. Did you watch wrestling? Nah, I've been too busy watching anime.
Like, well, we'll figure it out. And we did. And, yeah.
You know what I should do in post-production?
What?
I'm going to say this, and I'm probably going to forget. I should just put one of the anime openings, like, before when we were talking about Wrestle Kingdom. Like, before, it's like, and Wrestle Kingdom, and then, like, fucking Lucky Star's opening theme starts up.
You know what's great about the whole recording thing? Huh. If you forget, you can go back and listen.
Yeah. I don't do that.
I do.
I just mark down times.
That's all you do. Just mark it down.
And then I always forget.
Marking times and cutting lines. Yeah. No, it's John Jones. Sorry, he cuts lines.
He doesn't cut the lines.
Cocaine.
He just
that's a cocaine joke.
He's just testing the smell.
No, he just likes the way it smells. He just likes the way that cocaine smells. Oh man. Start calling him Johnny Nose Jones.
Johnny Nose Jones. Ah!
Can you take me higher? That's the reason the entrance music by Creed. Because he's high as a kite.
Now I know we're losing steam.
What? We're talking about John Jones doing cocaine.
John Jones doing cocaine.
There's nothing wrong with that. Thank you guys for dealing with us for the last 90 minutes. We're going on 100 minutes, actually. Now.
Yeah.
We're getting close.
I do, once again, want to give my normal plug that I do to the shit that I do. I don't think you really... check us out on Twitter, definitely. At B4L Podcast. We have a Twitter.
We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook. We have all that stuff going.
We don't really tweet. And we have a Facebook, too. We don't really post it on the Facebook either.
I mean, in our credit, we set it all up after the last episode. So we haven't really done a whole lot.
Yeah, we haven't really done a whole lot. Not to mention Christmas time came around.
We're going to take a picture. We're going to take a selfie right now. We're
busy for both of us.
Make our profile picture.
Oh, boy. I am not in...
Please enjoy us as we take this selfie.
Oh, my God.
Perfect. That's going to be our timeline photo.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, follow us on Twitter. Tell your friends about us. If you like us, if you don't like us, fuck you. I mean,
I'm thinking about putting just a little bit of money in, because you can put a little bit of money in, and it'll advertise to people.
I was doing the same. I was going to do the same thing.
Yeah, it's like, let's throw $20 in, and see how far it goes.
Yeah, we'll talk about strategic advertising planning.
Yeah,
I don't think on the air is the best place to talk about.
Yeah, speaking of strategic advertising planning, I want to plug some of my shit. Of course, my YouTube gaming channel, youtube.com/725gaming, or you could just look up Minimum Wage Gaming on YouTube. I post a bunch of different parts from my Hitbox streams. Hitbox is a lot like Twitch. I like Hitbox a little bit better. It's not as well known, but either way, I do Hitbox live streams generally at like 2 o'clock in the morning at like Central Time, because I think, once again, I told you one of the guys who was listening to episode 2, he actually lives out in the UK. So, yeah, if you live in America, it's like freaking early morning that I do most of my streams. You know, I usually do 2 or 3 times a week. I'll do football or wrestling or something that I maybe wanted to play, like I did like Sword Art Online and Valkyria Chronicles, stuff like that. You can check me out personally on Twitter as well, at StraightEdge109. I'll usually tweet from there, as well as if you want to know, like, when I'm streaming, I'll usually post there when I'm live. So yeah, feel free to like us on Facebook, follow us on Twitter.
Yep, and we'll connect there because we love you guys. And I don't know who all listens, but thank you for listening to us the past couple episodes. We hope for your continued support and hope that grows as we go on. And
yeah.
Hopefully
2015 is going to be an awesome year.
The year of the best use for life.
Oh, this is going to be gret.
Calling it. We're going to have freaking Colt Cabana on our show in December.
Colt Cabana.
That's my goal. Colt Cabana by December.
he's just I don't even think he shows up on other people's podcasts.
I don't even care. We'll make it happen. CM Punk's going to be on our podcast.
CM Punk.
Perfect.
We're going to ask him why he left the WWE.
No, we're not. We're going to ask him,
even though everybody knows
what kind of jelly beans he likes.
What kind of jelly beans he likes.
We do things outside of the box.
Tell us about UFC.
Tell us about oof.
Oh yeah, you got a UFC fight coming up? What kind of soda do you like? Do you really like Pepsi?
Are you a Pepsi
Or have you jumped ship to Coke?
John Jones jumped ship to Coke.
just as soon as I said that, I'm like, oh my god.
Oh, another Coke joke.
Oh, just as soon as that came out of my mouth, I'm like, oh, that's man. Perfect.
Can we like say that like from now on that John Jones is a proud sponsor of Coke?
John Jones, sponsored by Coca-Cola.
That would be perfect. That's a good man, if anyone knows Coca-Cola, let them know about that shit.
That's how you need to have a John Jones versus CM Punk fight. I know John Jones will cut the weight. He'll go down to Punk's weight, and you can have Coke versus Pepsi.
This has gone too far. We love you guys. Thank you for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Yes, thank you. See ya.
Bye.